I'm Charlotte, 35, and never thought I'd be a widow. Jack's sudden death last month broke me. But what happened after his funeral was even more shocking. I got home to find my sister-in-law, Patricia, and her husband already settled in, their bags in my bedroom. Patricia stared at me coldly and said, "This house is mine now. I sold your things. Get out." I laughed, not from joy, but because she had no idea what was coming. Before I go on, tell me where you're watching from. Drop your location in the comments. Like and subscribe to join our survivor community. You'll want to see how this plays out. Jack and I met 12 years ago at a Chicago charity gala. I was 23, volunteering at an art auction while finishing my teaching degree. He was 28, a rising financial advisor with a gift for market predictions. I'll never forget it. I was arranging watercolor landscapes when I knocked over a pricey vase. As it fell, a hand caught it, Jack's hand. "Nice save," I said, cheeks burning. "Quick reflexes," he grinned, making my heart race. Markets don't wait. We talked all night about art, his family business, and my dream to teach kids. Jack stood out, wealthy but humble, brilliant yet kind. Our love moved fast. 6 months later, we wed by Lake Michigan in a small ceremony. His mom, Eleanor, welcomed me warmly. His sister, Patricia, skipped it, citing a work emergency, a hint of her future slights. Jack and I built a great life. He climbed the ranks at his investment firm, while I taught art at Westbrook Elementary. We started in a tiny apartment, saving for our dream home. Jack wanted to earn his own way, not use family money. 5 years in, we found it, a stunning colonial house in a quiet suburb. It needed work, but we loved it. Weekends were spent painting, fixing floors, and planting gardens. Every effort built our future. Our only pain was infertility. After 3 years of trying, tests showed I had severe endometriosis, making pregnancy unlikely. We considered adoption or surrogacy but needed time to think. "Family's more than biology," Jack said, holding me through tears. "We've got each other. That's enough for now." Despite this, our bond grew stronger. Jack never judged me for not having kids. Instead, we poured love elsewhere, I into my students, he into mentoring young analysts. Jack's family was complex. The Harringtons built wealth through real estate and investments. His dad, Thomas, was strict, demanding his kids prove themselves in the business. Jack worked hard to earn his spot. Patricia used charm and manipulation instead. Eleanor became like my own mom. After Thomas died 6 years ago, she moved to a smaller home but stayed active in family and community. She often said Jack was lucky to find me, that I brought out his best. Patricia's always envied Jack, she told me over tea. He had his dad's business mind and my heart. Patricia's all ambition, no morals. Patricia married Robert 8 years ago. He came from wealth but lost most of it on bad ventures. We rarely hung out, and when we did, Patricia mocked our simple life or my teacher job. In our last 2 years, Jack spent more time in his home office on a secret project. I'd bring coffee, glimpsing spreadsheets and papers. He looked worried sometimes but smiled when I asked. "Just family business stuff," he'd say. "No need to worry." 3 months before he died, Jack updated his life insurance and had me review our wills with his lawyer, Daniel. I thought it was just smart planning. I didn't know trouble was brewing. The day Jack died started like any Tuesday. He kissed me at 7:30, promised Thai food for dinner, and left for his office. I taught my 3rd graders how to make papier-mâché sculptures. Just after lunch, during my break, my phone rang. It was Sylvia, Jack's assistant, her voice shaking. "Charlotte, Jack collapsed in a meeting. Paramedics are rushing him to Northwestern Memorial. It's bad. Come now." My world spun. I dropped my coffee mug, shards scattering like my broken life. My principal saw my pale face and drove me to the hospital. The 20-minute trip through Chicago traffic felt endless. My hands shook too much to text Eleanor properly. At the emergency room, the doctor's face said it all. Jack had a massive heart attack. They tried everything, but he was gone. At 40, my husband was no longer here. It was likely an undiagnosed heart condition, the doctor said softly. These can stay hidden until it's too late. I sank into a chair, numb. Jack had mentioned chest pain before, but we thought it was just stress. Heart attacks were for older men, not my vibrant Jack with a full life ahead. Eleanor arrived 30 minutes later, her face gray with grief. We clung to each other, both broken by losing the man we loved. She'd already lost her husband, and now her son. It felt so unfair. An hour later, Patricia and Robert showed up. While Eleanor and I sobbed, Patricia demanded Jack's belongings, his keys, phone, watch, wallet. Her eyes were dry, all business. As his sister, I handle family matters, she told the nurse. Too shattered to fight, I let her take his things. She barely spoke to me, only asking if I'd called Jack's lawyer yet. Daniel called, I mumbled. He mentioned urgent stuff, but I can't deal with it now. Her eyes narrowed. What stuff? Nothing, I said. My husband just died. The next 3 days were a haze of grief and paperwork, death certificates, funeral plans, obituaries. I drifted through it, barely sleeping or eating unless Eleanor pushed me. Vanessa, my best friend, stayed over, managing calls and visitors when I couldn't cope. Patricia took over the funeral, ignoring my wishes. My simple service became a grand show with strangers from Jack's work. She chose an open casket despite my protests and picked flowers and music Jack would have hated. The Harringtons have standards, she snapped when I argued. Jack would want it done right. Daniel called twice more, sounding desperate, but I put him off until after the funeral. I couldn't face talk of wills while Jack wasn't even buried. The funeral was a blur of black outfits and pitying looks. I stood by the grave, legs weak, as Jack's casket was lowered. Eleanor held one hand, Vanessa the other. Patricia stood across, her face blank, tossing a white rose onto the coffin. At Eleanor's reception, I overheard Patricia tell Robert, when the wills read, it'll be fixed. The house goes back to the family since Jack left no heirs. I walked away, too stunned to grasp her words. All I wanted was to go home, to lie in our bed, to hold on to Jack's scent. After the reception, I was drained. Vanessa offered to stay, but I needed to be alone in my house to grieve. She agreed reluctantly, making me promise to call if I needed her. I drove home in a fog, pulling into the driveway at sunset. A strange luxury SUV in my spot was the first red flag. The living room lights were on, though I'd turned them off that morning. Heart pounding, I unlocked the door and stepped inside. My furniture was rearranged. Jack's favorite armchair was gone, replaced by an antique from Patricia's house. My family photos were missing from the mantel. The air smelled of strange perfume. Finally showed up? Patricia's voice cut through from the kitchen. She held a glass of my wine, from the collection Jack and I loved. What are you doing in my house? I asked, too shocked to be angry. This is the Harrington family house now, she said smugly. Robert and I have moved in. Robert came downstairs, looking uneasy but firm. Charlotte, we thought you'd want space from all the memories. You're wrong, I said, voice steadying. This is my home. Get out. Patricia's laugh was icy, devoid of warmth. Sorry, that's not happening. This house belongs to the Harrington family trust now that Jack's gone without kids. He must have told you. That's absurd, I shot back. We bought this house together. My name's on the deed. A minor detail, Patricia dismissed with a wave. Dad always meant family properties to stay with blood Harringtons. Jack knew that. I walked deeper into the house, heart sinking. My artwork was gone from the walls. The sideboard Jack restored for our anniversary was missing. "Where's my stuff?" I demanded. "I sold the less important things," Patricia said casually. "The rest is in storage for you to pick up." I made a list somewhere. She rummaged through a drawer where we kept takeout menus. "You sold my things?" I said, stunned. "The cheap ones, yes. The art and antiques are family property." She handed me a scribbled list. "You can take your clothes and personal items." My hands shook as I read it. My grandmother's china, donated. Wedding gifts, sold. Family photos, thrown out. "This is illegal," I said. "You can't take my house and sell my belongings." Patricia's face turned cold. "Look at this." She pulled a faded paper from her bag. Dad's will from 20 years ago. It says family properties returned to the trust if a Harrington dies without kids. I glanced at it. It was Thomas's will, but outdated, replaced years after his death. "That's worthless," I said. "His estate was settled long ago. We bought this house with our money." "Money Jack made from the family business," she countered. "It was part of his inheritance." Robert coughed awkwardly. "Maybe we should talk with lawyers here." "Nothing to talk about," Patricia snapped. "Charlotte's leaving, right?" I stood firm. "No way. This is my home." Her face twisted cruelly. "Let's be clear. You failed Jack. You couldn't give him kids. You have no claim to the Harrington legacy. This house is ours now." Her words hit hard, dragging up 5 years of infertility pain on the day I buried Jack. "How dare you?" I whispered. "Truth stings, doesn't it?" she sneered. "Jack told me he was disappointed. Why do you think he stayed late at work? He didn't want to come home to you." Tears stung my eyes, but I held them back. "You're lying." "Am I?" "Why didn't he update the family will?" "He knew what would happen." She stepped closer. "You have until tomorrow to pack a bag. Anything left is abandoned." Robert looked ashamed. "We'll store your stuff for now, Charlotte, until you find a new place." "This is my house," I yelled, losing control. Patricia signaled a man I hadn't seen, a security guard in the dining room shadows. "This is Frank. He'll escort you out if needed. I've filed a claim with the family lawyer. We have as much right to be here as you." Overwhelmed, I went to the master bedroom for essentials, but Patricia and Robert had claimed it. My clothes were in garbage bags in the guest room. My jewelry box was empty except for cheap pieces. Even Jack's wedding ring, returned by the hospital, was gone from my purse. As I packed a bag, my phone rang. Eleanor was sobbing. "Charlotte, Patricia's banned me from Jack's grave. She says she controls family plots as executor and changed the gate code. I can't even bring my son flowers." "Eleanor, listen," I said, trying to stay strong for her. "Patricia's lost it. She and Robert have taken my house, claiming it's theirs. They've sold or stored my things." "My God," Eleanor gasped. I feared this. Jack warned me she might try something, but this is worse than he thought. "Jack knew?" I asked, my voice shaking with confusion. "Not now, Eleanor," I said, keeping my voice steady for her. "Not over the phone." "Where are you headed?" "Vanessa's?" "For now, just until I sort this out," I replied. "Stay safe. I'll call Daniel first thing tomorrow." Dragging my suitcase downstairs, I saw Patricia's smug look. "One last thing," she said. "I need your house keys." I stared, stunned. "You're stealing my home, and you want my keys?" It's not stealing, it's ours by right, she said icily. Hand them over. I dropped the keys at her feet and walked up my front door, unsure if I'd ever return. Vanessa was shocked when I showed up at her place with one suitcase and a wild story. She poured me a stiff drink and called her brother, a police officer. It's a civil matter, he said after listening. Her name's on some old documents, and she's family. Police can't just remove her. You need a court order. I tossed and turned on Vanessa's sofa bed, caught between tears and rage. At dawn, I called Daniel Woods, Jack's lawyer. He answered instantly. I've been trying to reach you, he said urgently. Jack left clear instructions for if anything happened. Can you come to my office now? An hour later, I sat in Daniel's downtown office. He was in his 60s, with kind eyes behind glasses and a sharp mind Jack trusted completely. I'm so sorry for your loss, Daniel said. Jack was more than a client, he was a friend. Thanks, I murmured. Daniel, Patricia's taken my house. She says it's the family's now that Jack's gone. Daniel's face darkened. That's a lie. Jack was crystal clear. He updated his will last month. My eyes widened. Last month? Why? Let Jack tell you, Daniel said softly. He pulled a sealed envelope from a drawer, my name in Jack's handwriting. He wanted you to have this if something happened. My hands shook as I opened it and read. My dearest Charlotte. If you're reading this, I'm gone. I'm so sorry to leave you facing this alone. I tried to fix things while alive, but I had to protect you if I couldn't. For a year, I've been digging into the family business. I found Patricia's been stealing millions for over a decade through fake companies and forged records. 3 months ago, I confronted her. She threatened to ruin you if I exposed her. I've gathered proof for the board and police, but your safety came first. In my office, behind the Lake Michigan painting, there's a safe. The code is our anniversary. Inside is a USB drive with all the evidence, including her threats. My new will leaves everything to you. The house is yours alone. I set up a trust fund Patricia can't touch. Trust Daniel and Mom. Don't trust Robert, he knows what she's done but goes along, more weak than evil. I love you beyond words. You were my everything. Forever yours. Jack. I stared at the letter, speechless. Daniel gave me time to process. He knew, I whispered. He knew he might not make it. Jack worried about his health, Daniel said. Chest pains, dizziness. He wanted everything set for you. And Patricia? Did he tell you about her? Daniel nodded. Not everything, but enough. His will is ironclad, everything goes to you, with care for Eleanor. There's no family trust claim on your house. Patricia has no case. But she's already there with guards, I said. She's sold my things. That's theft and breaking in, Daniel said firmly. We'll file for an injunction today, but first, we need that USB drive. It's your strongest weapon. Vanessa drove me to my house during Patricia's lunch break. We parked a block away and moved carefully. As Jack predicted, the locks were changed. Luckily, we'd hidden a key in a fake rock by the shed during renovations. The house was empty. I rushed to Jack's office, still untouched. Patricia was probably too busy selling my stuff to check here yet. The Lake Michigan painting hung on the wall. Behind it, as Jack said, was a small safe. My hands trembled as I entered our anniversary date. It opened, revealing a USB drive, cash, our passports, and Jack's grandfather's pocket watch, which I thought Patricia stole from the hospital. As we prepared to leave, I saw Jack's laptop in his desk drawer. I grabbed it, thinking it might hold more clues. Back at Vanessa's, I opened the USB drive. It had hundreds of files, neatly organized, bank records of Patricia's offshore transfers, emails ordering fake transactions, photos of forged documents. The worst was an audio of Patricia threatening Jack. "If you talk, Charlotte loses everything, her house, her job, her reputation," she hissed. "I have connections. Cross me, and you'll both pay." I found emails from Jack to the company board, carefully outlining his concerns. He was building a case, rallying support to expose Patricia at the next meeting. But his heart failed first. That afternoon, Eleanor called. "Charlotte, I found something you need to see, old photos and letters. They explain a lot. Can you come over?" At Eleanor's, she showed me family keepsakes from decades past. Photos of Jack and Patricia as kids revealed a pattern. She was always grabbing his toys, awards, or spot next to their dad. "Thomas favored Jack," Eleanor said sadly. "Not because he loved Patricia less, but Jack had a knack for business. Patricia resented it. When Thomas died and gave Jack big company roles, something in her broke. She felt robbed." "That doesn't excuse stealing millions," I said. "Absolutely not," Eleanor agreed. "Nothing excuses what she's done to you, especially after losing Jack." Among the letters was one from Jack to his dad, years old, about the company. Thomas was clear: homes bought with personal money weren't business assets. Patricia's claim on my house was a complete lie. With Jack's evidence, I went back to Daniel's office. He'd filed for an emergency hearing and was pushing for a criminal investigation. "This isn't just family drama," he said darkly. "It's major fraud. The board needs this evidence now." The next morning, a letter from Patricia's lawyer arrived, claiming she, as Jack's closest kin, was challenging the will. She said I'd manipulated Jack when he was unwell. "That's ridiculous," I told Daniel on the phone. Jack was sharp until the end. "It's a stalling tactic," Daniel said. "She wants to keep control of assets while the case drags, selling whatever she can." That day, I learned Patricia changed the locks on our safe deposit box and took my mom's jewelry. The bank manager showed me papers with my supposed signature, letting her in. It was clearly forged. My phone kept ringing, friends and relatives asking odd questions. Were Jack and I fighting? Did I refuse kids? Did I know about his affairs? Patricia was spreading lies, painting me as a gold digger who trapped Jack. Things worsened when I tried to return to work. My principal looked worried. "Charlotte, we've had calls about your mental state," she said gently. "Your sister-in-law says you're not fit to teach kids now." "She's ruining my life," I said, holding back tears. "It's all lies." "I trust you," she said. "But school rules mean you're on paid leave until this is sorted." "I'm sorry." No home, no belongings, and now no job. Patricia was choking my life. That night, her lawyer sent threats: if I fought her, she'd destroy my reputation for good. The next day, Vanessa and I drove by my house. Security guards blocked the driveway. The gardens Jack and I planted were being ripped up for a pool. "You need Mrs. Harrington's permission to enter," a guard said. "I am Mrs. Harrington," I snapped through clenched teeth. "Not according to my boss," he replied coldly. Later that week, Eleanor called, frantic. Patricia came with her lawyer, demanding I sign over Thomas's assets. When I refused, she threatened to call me incompetent and put me in a home. I hurried to Eleanor's house, finding her rattled but defiant. "I won't bow to her threats," she said. "Thomas would be horrified by what she's become." While there, Robert called, wanting a private meeting. Against Eleanor's advice, I met him at a coffee shop halfway between our places. "I can't stay long," he said, eyes darting nervously, as if Patricia might appear. "She's gone too far. I never agreed to kicking you out of your home." "But you're living there," I said coldly. He looked ashamed. "I'm trying to limit the damage. She wanted to trash your mementos. I've hidden the ones I know matter to you." Why tell me now? She's forging documents, he whispered. Not just bank signatures, fake company records, board minutes, even a false addition to Jack's old will. She's got a contact in the records office helping. Go to the police, I urged. Robert paled. She's got dirt on me, financial stuff I was part of. She'll drag me down with her. Then help me quietly, I said. Tell me what to look for. He slid a paper across the table. Dates, document numbers, her records office contact, offshore account details. He stood. This meeting never happened. The next day hit hard. Eleanor was hospitalized with chest pains after Patricia locked her out of the family mausoleum, blocking access to Jack's and Thomas's graves. It's stress-induced angina, Vanessa said after visiting. She'll recover, but no more confrontations. The family was dividing. Some backed Patricia for her company role, others, who knew her tricks, supported me and Eleanor. At Cousin George's Sunday dinner, things exploded. Jack's old friend Simon challenged Patricia's lies, knowing the truth about our marriage. Daniel worked non-stop, filing to freeze assets and pushing for criminal charges with Patricia's forgeries. But justice moved slowly, while her attacks on my life sped up. The worst came when Patricia hacked my email, sending fake resignations to my school and the kids' art therapy program I volunteered at. By the time I caught it, my professional ties were damaged. We have to stop her, I told Daniel in a desperate meeting. She's tearing my life apart. The hearing's next week, he said. I've got the board members Jack contacted. They've started a forensic audit with your evidence. That's too late for Eleanor, I said. This stress is killing her. Daniel's face softened. Jack left another letter, for a crisis like this. I think it's time to open it. The court hearing loomed heavily. I barely slept, rehearsing with Daniel until midnight. Eleanor, just out of the hospital, was too frail to come. She gave me her wedding ring for strength. Thomas gave me this 50 years ago, she said, pressing it into my hand. It's seen worse than Patricia. The courtroom buzzed as Patricia and Robert arrived with their lawyer, Victor Lawson, a ruthless type known for dirty tactics. Patricia, in a sharp suit, greeted family like she'd already won. When the judge entered, Daniel asked for a short delay. Your Honor, new evidence is critical to this case. Harrington Investments board members are on their way to speak. Patricia's smug look wavered. The judge gave us a 30-minute break, and she huddled with her lawyer, throwing me suspicious glances. Court resumed with 3 serious men in suits joining us. I recognized them as top board members. Walter Davidson, the oldest, was Thomas Harrington's closest friend. Your Honor, Daniel started, before we address the House claim, we must show Mrs. Patricia Miller's true actions and credibility. Patricia squirmed as Daniel held up Jack's USB drive and laptop. Evidence shows Mrs. Miller has been stealing from Harrington Investments for over a decade. Jack uncovered her crimes and was ready to tell the board and police before his sudden death. Her lawyer, Victor Lawson, jumped up. Objection! These claims don't relate to the property dispute before this court. Not true, Daniel said smoothly. They prove her pattern of fraud, directly tied to her false claim on my client's home. The judge let Daniel proceed. For an hour, he laid out Jack's evidence, records of millions funneled to Patricia's accounts, emails ordering fake invoices, and a recording of her threatening Jack and me. Patricia's face shifted from smug to furious to scared as the proof piled up. When her threats played aloud, family members gasped. Robert stared at the floor, avoiding all eyes. Also, Daniel pressed, Mrs. Miller broke into my client's home, stole her property, forged documents, and lied to banks. She sold my client's belongings, blocked family from gravesites, and spread lies to ruin Mrs. Charlotte Harrington's reputation. Lawson kept objecting, but the evidence was too strong. The judge's face grew darker. Walter Davidson stepped to the bench. Your Honor, Harrington Investments confirms these findings. We've frozen Mrs. Miller's accounts and are working with federal authorities on a full investigation. Patricia snapped. It's a setup, she yelled, standing. Jack wanted me out. He got everything, the company, Dad's praise, Mom's love. That house should be mine. Mrs. Miller, sit down, the judge ordered sternly. My client and her husband bought the house with their own money, Daniel said calmly. It was never company property or in a family trust. Here's the deed and mortgage, showing no link to family assets after Thomas Harrington's death. The judge studied the papers. These look valid. Mrs. Miller, do you have proof for your claim? Her lawyer whispered urgently, but she pushed him away. My father wanted family homes to stay with blood Harringtons. She can't have kids, she has no right to our legacy. The courtroom murmured at her cruel words. The judge's face hardened. Mrs. Miller, you have no legal claim to this property, and your actions suggest serious crimes. I'm ordering you to leave the house immediately, return all stolen items, and I'm issuing a restraining order barring you from contacting Mrs. Harrington or the property. Patricia glared at me, seething. This isn't over, she hissed. It is, said a voice from the back. 2 officers and an FBI agent in a dark suit entered, flashing a badge. Patricia Miller, the agent said, you're under arrest for wire fraud, embezzlement, and interstate financial crimes. You have the right to remain silent. As they cuffed her, Lawson tried to step in. The agent handed him a warrant. We're searching her home and office. More charges may come. Patricia's final look at me burned with rage. Robert sat, head in hands, silent. As the courtroom emptied, Walter approached me. Charlotte, Jack always praised you. He worked months to expose Patricia. We didn't want to believe a Harrington could betray us. When he died, we thought the evidence was lost. He made sure it wasn't, I said quietly, gripping Jack's letter in my pocket. The company owes you big, Walter said. Anything we can do. Just look after Eleanor, I said. She's been through enough. Outside the courthouse, Robert approached cautiously. Charlotte, I didn't know Patricia would go this far. Her lies about you and Jack were false. Your marriage was what mine should have been. You stood by as she threw me out, I said sharply. I know. I'm divorcing her tomorrow. I've moved out of your house. He handed me a key. The guards are gone. I saved some of your things. I took the key without a word. His cowardice overshadowed any pity I might have felt. Vanessa drove me home. Relief, grief, and exhaustion swirled inside me. Seeing my house, I felt a flicker of peace for the first time since Jack's death. I was finally back. The weeks after Patricia's arrest were a blur of court battles and cleanup. She faced federal charges for embezzlement, plus state charges for theft, forgery, and breaking in. Her lawyer tried for bail, but the judge called her a flight risk due to her overseas accounts and lawless actions. Robert turned on Patricia, filing for divorce and aiding prosecutors to reduce his own sentence. His testimony exposed her crimes stretching back further than Jack had uncovered, revealing a web of deceit that stunned even seasoned investigators. He'd face penalties for his involvement, but his cooperation softened the consequences, giving him a chance to start over. Reclaiming my home was a mix of relief and heartbreak. Many of my cherished possessions, family heirlooms, wedding gifts, photos, were gone, sold to strangers across the country. The gardens Jack and I had poured love into were half destroyed, ripped up for Patricia's spiteful pool. She'd painted our warm rooms in garish colors, trying to erase our presence. Yet, the house, our house, stood firm, its walls holding the echoes of our life together. Eleanor moved into my guest house after her doctor warned against living alone. Her steady presence became my anchor, a source of comfort in the chaos. We spent hours sorting through Jack's belongings, laughing and crying over old letters, clothes, and trinkets, deciding what to keep or donate. Each item was a thread of memory, weaving us closer. Jack always said you were his anchor, Eleanor told me one evening as we pored over photo albums. After Thomas died, the company's weight nearly crushed him. Coming home to you reminded him what mattered: love, not power or money. The financial tangle slowly unraveled in my favor. Jack's life insurance provided a solid safety net, easing the uncertainty. The company board, ashamed for ignoring Jack's warnings about Patricia, ensured I received his full shares and pension, a gesture that honored his legacy and secured my future. With Daniel's expertise, I founded the Jack Harrington Foundation to help widows facing property disputes and financial fraud. It took off quickly, supported by Jack's colleagues and clients who respected his unyielding honesty. Each case we took on felt like a victory for justice, a way to carry forward Jack's fight against greed. Healing was a jagged path, far from quick or easy. Some days, grief and betrayal overwhelmed me, stealing my breath. I joined a young widows support group, finding solace in their stories of loss and resilience. Therapy became a lifeline, helping me untangle the pain of losing Jack and surviving Patricia's relentless attacks. 3 months after the court hearing, I returned to teaching. My principal welcomed me with a warm embrace, and my students' passion for art soothed the lingering legal stress. Creating with children, whose pure hearts saw beauty everywhere, was a balm for my soul, a reminder of life's simple joys. For 6 months, I couldn't face Jack's office, the room where he'd fought so hard for our future. With Eleanor's gentle push, I finally stepped inside and found his notes, plans for home renovations, dream trips to Italy and Japan, even a sketch for a custom necklace for my birthday. Each note was a piece of his heart, left for me to find. He never stopped dreaming of your life together, Eleanor said, tears streaming as we read his plans. Even in his final days, you were his focus. Bit by bit, I transformed his office into my art studio. My first work was a watercolor of Lake Michigan, mirroring the painting that hid his safe. I hung it in the same spot, a quiet tribute to what we'd lost and what still endured, a symbol of love that outlasted grief. Patricia's trial sent shockwaves through the financial world. The prosecution leaned on Jack's meticulous evidence, files, emails, recordings that laid bare her decade-long scheme. Her attempt to shift blame to Jack collapsed when board members testified to his integrity, painting him as the moral opposite of her deceit. She was sentenced to 15 years in federal prison, with no parole for a decade. The judge ordered her to repay the stolen millions, ensuring she'd leave prison with nothing but her mistakes. The Harrington name suffered briefly, but the board's swift reforms, new audits, stricter oversight, restored confidence among investors. Eleanor and I attended the sentencing, not for vengeance, but to close that painful chapter. Patricia refused to look at us, staring blankly as the judge delivered her fate. As she was led away in handcuffs, I felt no joy, just relief that her ability to harm was gone. A year after Jack's death, I stood at his grave with fresh flowers. The grief hadn't vanished, but it had softened into something I could carry without breaking. I saved our home, I whispered. I'm keeping my promise to care for Eleanor. I'm finding my way, one step at a time. That evening, on the patio Jack built, Eleanor handed me a journal I'd never seen. Jack gave this to me before he died, she said. He wanted you to have it when the time was right. That's now. The journal was a treasure, pages filled with Jack's thoughts on our marriage, our dreams, and what truly mattered. His final entry, written days before his death, read, "If love is measured by how it transforms us, then Charlotte and I have something boundless. She made me better in ways I never imagined. Whatever comes next, that love is my greatest triumph and legacy." Those words became my compass. I renovated the house, not to erase Jack, but to blend our shared vision with my new path. Fresh paint brightened the walls, merging past warmth with future hope. Eleanor became my family, the mother I'd lost young and found again through Jack's love. The foundation grew, supporting dozens of women facing battles like mine, disputes over homes, betrayal by family. Each victory felt like turning pain into purpose, a living tribute to Jack's fight. We offered legal aid, counseling, and a community where women could reclaim their strength. 5 years after losing Jack, I stood in my classroom, watching students paint their stories with bold, fearless strokes. My journey from devastation to renewal taught me that while we can't control life's blows, we can choose how to rise. Their creativity mirrored my own rebuilding, a reminder that beauty can emerge from pain. The house Patricia tried to steal became my sanctuary, a haven for healing and new beginnings. Eleanor often quoted Thomas, "True wealth isn't what you own, but what you create that lasts beyond you." Those words echoed every time I walked through our replanted garden, blooming with roses we'd set in the earth together. Jack's legacy was more than a home or a career, it was the love and integrity that continued to shape lives. His courage fueled the Foundation's mission, his kindness lived in every woman we helped. His love endured in me, guiding every step of my journey forward. The legal battles didn't end with Patricia's sentencing. Smaller disputes over assets lingered, but Daniel handled them with precision, ensuring Jack's wishes were upheld. The company board, now vigilant, invited me to consult on their new ethics policies, a role I embraced to honor Jack's fight for transparency. Rebuilding meant rediscovering myself. I dove back into painting, not just for therapy but as a rediscovered passion. My work found a small audience at local galleries, each piece a step toward reclaiming my voice. I traveled to places Jack and I had dreamed of: Paris, Santorini, Kyoto, carrying his memory, finding joy in the adventures we'd planned together. Eleanor and I grew closer, our bond forged in shared loss and love. We hosted gatherings in the guest house, filling it with laughter, stories, and new memories. She taught me her old family recipes, and I shared my students' artwork, each moment deepening our connection as family. The Foundation became a lifeline for women facing betrayal or loss. We expanded to offer financial literacy workshops, empowering widows to protect their futures. Every woman who walked through our doors carried a story of resilience, and helping them find their strength gave me purpose. 10 years after Jack's death, I stood on our patio, surrounded by blooming roses we'd planted together. The house buzzed with life: student art shows, Eleanor's book club, Foundation meetings. It was a testament to survival, a place where love endured beyond loss. I reflected on the years since that courtroom victory. The Foundation had grown into a national network, with chapters in multiple states, each one helping women reclaim their lives. We partnered with law firms, therapists, and financial advisors, building a system that Jack would have been proud of. My art, too, had evolved. My paintings now told stories of resilience, exhibited in galleries across Chicago and beyond. Eleanor, now in her late 70s, remained vibrant, her wisdom guiding me through new challenges. We'd sit on the patio at dusk, sharing stories of Jack and Thomas, their legacies intertwined with our own. Her presence reminded me that family isn't just blood, it's the bonds we choose to nurture. My classroom became a second home, where I encouraged students to express their truths through art. Their fearless creativity inspired me daily, a mirror of my own journey from brokenness to wholeness. I'd often bring their work to the Foundation, displaying it at fundraisers to show how creativity can heal. Patricia's name faded from our lives, her crimes a distant memory. The Harrington family name regained its shine, thanks to the board's reforms and the Foundation's work. I occasionally heard updates: her appeals were denied, her wealth gone, her influence shattered. But she no longer held power over me. I started dating again, cautiously, 5 years after Jack's death. No one could replace him, but I found companionship with a kind-hearted architect named Michael, who respected my past and shared my love for creating beauty. We'd spend evenings sketching designs for community projects, blending our passions in ways that felt like a new chapter, not a replacement. The house evolved with me. I added a sunroom for painting, filled with light and memories of Jack. The gardens flourished again, a mix of our original roses and new blooms, symbolizing growth through pain. Friends and family gathered there often, their laughter a reminder that life could be full again. 15 years after Jack's death, the Foundation had helped hundreds of women, its impact rippling beyond what I'd imagined. I stepped into a leadership role, speaking at conferences about resilience and justice, sharing my story to inspire others. Each talk felt like honoring Jack, turning our pain into a force for good. Looking back, I saw how far I'd come. The betrayal that once threatened to destroy me became the catalyst for a stronger, more purposeful life. Jack's love, his courage, his integrity, they lived on in every brushstroke, every woman helped, every moment I chose to keep going. If you've faced betrayal by someone you trusted, I'd love to hear your story in the comments. How did you find the strength to rebuild? Sharing our journeys reminds others they're not alone in their struggles. If my story touched you, please like this post. Subscribe for more tales of resilience and share with someone who needs to know that even after crushing loss, life can bloom again with purpose and hope. Thank you for joining my journey. Remember, tragedy doesn't end your story, it opens a new chapter, waiting for you to write it with courage and heart.